Jairo Alvarez Botero was born in Sonsón, a small town in Antioquia, Colombia. In 1963, he came to the U.S. in search of the American dream. His book, Nada es imposible, No Such Thing as Impossible, written in English and Spanish, is enlightening thousands of immigrants and business leaders across the world.
I was raised in Sonsón. It's a little small village in the Andean Mountains, south, about 100 kilometers south from Medellin. My father started growing potatoes and corn, and I was raised with 11 brothers and sisters up in that farm. It was a very beautiful life because we have a lot of learning from our parents, very humble. We live to a certain extent very difficult because we had no electricity, no water, no sewer system, no toilet. We had to go to an outhouse. And then when I was early in the teens, a teenager age, Colombia was run for the dictator, and I don't know, I just got in love for the military career.
In Colombia, he served in the military and was a member of the elite Presidential Guard detail, protecting the lives of Presidents Alberto Lleras Camargo and Guillermo León Valencia.
When I was 15, I decided to join the military academy, the major academy in Colombia, in Bogota. And so my dream was to be an officer in the army. And after 4 years in the academy, being a minor, I graduated as a second lieutenant of artillery, and I was a professor in the School of Artillery after that, and I was sent to the Ranger Academy school in the jungle in Melgar to be trained to fight the guerrillas. And then I was sent to an area in Colombia infected by guerrillas.
During Alberto Lleras Camargo's presidency, Jairo discovered a plot in the works with General Gustavo Rojas Pinilla, who was attempting to take over the presidency again. And since his life was being threatened, the government had to get him out of harm's way.
And in those 2 years in service in the palace, I have been contacted by a coup. The dictator went back to Colombia and they want to take over the government again. And they offered me, make a beautiful offer to turn the president. So the generals and the commanders in the army of Colombia, they ordered me to be a spy. So I was spying the rebels for almost 6 months. After all, the coup was turned down and they put everybody in jail. And after the judiciary process, all these people became free for a lack of proofs, evidences, and the judiciary system. The problem was really managed in a very wrong way. So they tried to kill me several times, so I had to leave the army, and a cargo airplane dropped me in Miami.
Jairo ended in sunny Florida, Miami to be exact, where he arrived with just $100 to his name. Not knowing how to speak a word of English, he ended up in Albany, New York, where he worked in a hospital disinfecting needles and medical equipment.
I was in charge of taking care of, from the shooter, all the stuff coming from the surgery department. My job was to classify all the instruments and the linen and the stuff. That was an era in the 60s when there is no gloves, no masks, no nothing. And it was a very dirty, terrible job, very unsafe. And, but my dream was not to look back, and my dream was to overcome that adversity and get a graduation. So I decided to start adjusting to the country, to the culture, start learning the language. And very soon I went to the Albany Business College, and I talked to the dean. And I told him I want to study, and he said I didn't have a good knowledge of the languages.
Determined to learn how to speak English, he immersed himself in a dictionary, speaking out loud in front of a statue of Moses, reciting phrases in the language of Shakespeare.
I decided to practice the language in a park. There was a statue of Moses, and I used to go every day after work and read my book. And finally I went to school, and I started going at daytime from 8 till 3, 4 in the afternoon, and then at night I used to go to the restaurants from the hospital. I met a lady in the house that I used to rent a room. I was paying $1 per night. And an old elder lady who also was renting another room, I met her one day out of the church on a Sunday. And she knew, she said, oh, you're suffering a lot, you're having a lot of hard times. At that time, I didn't have where to cook, so in the hall, in that nursery, I used to have a burner, and I used to boil carrots, potatoes, and eggs, and keep it boiled in my room, and that's what I used to eat for breakfast, lunch, and so on. So she found me a job working in the Thruway Motel. It's a highway going from Albany to Canada, and outside the city. And so I started working in the basement. My job was a kitchen helper. I used to clean pots and peel onions and carrots and potatoes. And there's a big restaurant. They used to serve about 600 meals, and I used to work at night. They give me free food. I was there when I had the sad experience that President Kennedy was killed, and I was shocked when all the kitchen workers and cooks and helpers were celebrating the death of President Kennedy.
3 years later, Jairo Alvarez graduated with honors from Albany School of Business, demonstrating nothing is impossible. It was his determination that got him through a very rough period.
Then I continued working hard, and then I managed myself to get a couple jobs during the weekend in order to reduce during the week. And in vacation, then I used to have 2 jobs. So at the last year, I just decided to quit working because I saved enough money to pay my education. After education, when I graduated with honors in business administration.
3 years later, he traveled to Colombia, where he met the love of his life, Anita.
I had the fortune to meet my wife, Anita. We got married, and then we started having our children.
The couple has 3 children, Carlos Mario, Ana Marcela, and Sebastián.
Colombia in the late 70s and early 80s was in a very serious problems. The drug cartel, Pablo Escobar was destroying the city, the communists taking over, the guerrilla problems. We have no security, no future for me and for Anita, no future for my children. Most of the universities were on a strike. So I told Anita, let's take another chance and let's start all over again. And I was 45 years, I packed it, I went to the embassy, got my visa, and we came to the United States. We started again from scratch there, and I started in different jobs. First of all, I went to Miami because I had the opportunity to have a job there. The employment did not work out, so I decided to come to Baton Rouge because Anita has a sister here. So in order to help Anita to get adjusted to the country. After a few months being here in America, Anita got really sick. She was in the hospital. The doctor told me that was the stress and that she was not going to be able to live here in America. So she decided to go with Sebastian, 2 years old. She went back to Colombia. I stayed by myself, and I ended up having a serious depression problem. I have a depression, I mean the maximum you have in depression. And anyway, Anita stayed in Colombia for a few months, and she decided to come back. And we started different businesses, and I failed. Finally, we decided to open a small restaurant, ice cream parlor. We have it for 7 years, and when I was 52, I decided to give up. I lost the business, I decided to shut it down.
But he wouldn't give up. He forged ahead like a warrior, getting up from being down and out, and at the age of 52 years, he opened Alvarez Construction, which is now the largest construction company in Louisiana, established in Baton Rouge.
I had the fortune in the restaurant in those 7 years to know the best people in Baton Rouge. They were my customers. Realtors, bankers, people, managers of mortgage companies, developers. So fortunately I contacted them and I decided to take a chance and I decided to start construction again. And I managed to get a loan and I decided to dedicate myself. I bought about 12 books about construction, about air conditioner, about framing, plumbing, concrete, everything. And then I liked it. I did very good with the first house. Then my first year I did 2 houses. The second I did 6 houses, and we keep going, very successful. At the same time I was building, I have another priority was to give my children a very good education. So in that process, I have them in the best universities in the state. And once they start graduating, they start coming to help me out. And today, I have this company, very, very successful. It's the largest developer and builder residential construction company in Louisiana.
One by one, subdivisions started mushrooming across the land. Forest Creek, Magnolia Point, Southampton. The American dream has now become this Colombian man's reality, and so does the Alvarez success story. Besides Jairo Alvarez's passion for construction, bicycling is his other love. This is not just a pastime. He has won gold medals in different events since he got his first bicycle at a very young age. He practices daily, and his children, including his nephew Alejandro Alvarez, who is the company's supervisor, are his best cheerleader.
What I have here is basically all my medals and trophies that I have won in the last 3-4 years in cycling. I have 55 medals. I think 25 or 30 are gold. They belong to 2 basically major cycling organizations in the United States. One is the United States Cycling Federation for regular cyclists that I belong with my son Sebastian. Now the other one is at senior level. So far I have won competitions in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast states. I have this 2 months ago. I went to the Alabama Seniors Olympics. And they are very, very important because, first of all, I got the classification for National Olympics next year in June in San Francisco. And so that's very important for me. And secondly, this medal is I beat the National Olympic champ in Alabama for 1 second on the sprint in the 40 kilometers road race. So that to me is very, very important. Now another group of medals that I consider very important is this group, because these were 2 years ago in the Olympics in Philadelphia, Mississippi. That was 95 days after I had a radical surgery of cancer, prostate cancer. And the doctor told me to go there just to hang around with my friends and not to compete. And I just decided to go and compete some kind of easy, and I end up feeling in great conditions. And this one is very, very important because I did a breakaway by myself on the 40 kilometers road race, and I got the gold. So to me it's a precious medal.
Alvarez Construction is family-owned and operated. His children make up the board of directors, making sure the family patriarch's vision is carried out in the day-to-day operations.
Aquí vamos a tener un centro comercial, la entrada acá principal a todo el desarrollo con 5 lagos, etc.
Carlos Mario is the eldest of the adult children whose responsibility is to cement business dealings with the most lucrative companies and their multi-million-dollar projects.
We're happy to represent Alvarez Construction in the sales and marketing of their latest project, Jamestown at Old Perkins.
Jamestown at Old Perkins is one of the largest combined commercial and residential planned urban developments here in this part of Baton Rouge. It's located between Sigan Lane and Highland Road.
Everybody in the company has very exclusive role, but Carlos, because he was the oldest, so he had been right from the beginning. When I was building in Colombia, Carlos was 6, 7 years old, and he was already working, cleaning at the job, picking up nails, helping me. And so Carlos is the most important, not the most important, it's incredible because I can provide the knowledge, I can provide my experience, but Carlos has the energy, the knowledge in the real estate, especially in real estate. Carlos is one of the top 100 agents in the United States in real estate. He is a salesperson. The way he takes care of the customer is incredible. He shocks me because he puts the customer first, ahead. He's just to serve the customer.
His passion is aviation. As a pilot, he often soars in the skies with clients, getting a bird's eye view of prime real estate and scouting out locations for future projects. For Alvarez Construction, Carlos Mario gets an overview of what the future holds. Life has been very good to Jairo Alvarez, both professionally and personally. Ups and downs are part of his fruitful life. A sobering reminder of life's lessons happened a couple of years ago when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. At first, he thought it was the beginning of the end. But his passion for life keeps him going. Alvarez was submitted to what some would consider radical surgery, and today, he is cancer-free and living life to the fullest. Ana Marcela is the apple of Jairo's eye, a daughter who has given him grandchildren, Anita and Jairo. She is married to an entrepreneur with UPS who says the best thing that happened to him was becoming part of the amazing Alvarez family. The powerhouse in the business world also finds time to have fun with his grandchildren. He plays with toy cars and gets lost in their world. For Anita, well, they fill her heart with joy. Ana Marcela, who holds a degree in accounting, is the one who closely monitors the finances at Alvarez Construction, balancing the budget and making sure everything's accounted for.
I not only take care of the accounting for the construction company, I take care of all the accounting for the development company as well as other different companies that we have, an investment company, the book, and all those other rental properties that my dad has.
Alvarez Construction is currently in charge of one of the largest and most ambitious projects in the history of Baton Rouge. Under the supervision of Jairo Alvarez, huge pieces of construction equipment remove the grassy areas and level the ground. Sebastian is the youngest of the family, and sometimes he's not taken seriously by other family members. However, he surprised them all when he earned his degree from Louisiana State University as an exterior designer specializing in gardens. Sebastian actually specialized his craft in Japan. When he returned to the States, he received quite a few lucrative job offers.
I learned a lot from the culture, a lot from the people, a lot about design and how to use space to make it more aesthetically pleasing, in a small scale and also in a large scale.
At 26 years of age, the moment had arrived to take Sebastian seriously because he was about to leave. He would no longer be the gardener or running errands for others in the family business.
LSU is the top university in the United States in the landscaping architecture, and all the graduates from LSU They get positions in China, Japan, and United States, all over the world, and they are in high demand. And Sebastian, before they all graduate, they have wonderful jobs. And Sebastian used to tell me, hey, that is such a person. He has a job, he's going to Florida, they are going to give him house or apartment and car and $100,000 salary and all that. So for me, it was very difficult to compete with that challenge because he had the temptation to be on his own. So finally, I closed the deal with him.
The company got him involved in Jamestown, one of the most intricate projects to design an entrance to the property and determine where the man-made bodies of water would be located.
As far as the Jamestown entrance goes, we decided to use brick because it's a most prominent material that we use in the houses, and we want to kind of bring that elegantness to the entrance.
From the air, one can see the terrain divided down below. The homes have a unique finish, opulent hardwood floors imported from Colombia, elegant spacious kitchens and luxurious bathrooms, conveniently located less than 2 miles from shopping centers and hospitals by Interstate 10. There's no other location with so much to offer than Jamestown, and that's a fact. Richarda Alvarez is Carlos Mario's wife, a savvy businesswoman with her eye on the prize, and along with Carlos Mario, owns Remax Total. One of the most stunning projects Jairo Alvarez has spearheaded is the construction of the St. Jude home. Every year, Alvarez Construction builds a home whose funds are used to help children with cancer. Thus far, Alvarez Construction has donated a whopping $11 million toward causes that benefit children with cancer. The life and secrets of Jairo Alvarez are revealed in great detail in his book that inspires and enlightens the soul. Nada es imposible, no such thing as impossible. Jairo Alvarez's book is available right now at Amazon.com or on www.nadaesimposiblepapacito.com. Jairo Alvarez continues to be keynote speaker at conferences in churches, community centers, universities, and signing hundreds of autographs during his various appearances throughout the country. Profits from the book goes towards orphan children in Colombia. A life filled with success, with less than $100 in his pocket, and today he shares his story as one of the most successful Latino businessmen in the U.S. Jairo Alvarez has been congratulated by different presidents. Colombian President Alvaro Uribe wrote, "The lesson of his life of sacrifice and perseverance demonstrates to Colombians that nothing is impossible." He was selected for the Pulitzer Prize for Biography of 2009, finalist of the Indie Award USA for Inspirational Biography of 2008. He has also received the award Pluma de Oro from the Hispanic Association of Poets and Writers. Because of his merits, Alvarez was invited to the White House by President George Bush. Jairo Alvarez, a success story from an immigrant to an entrepreneur, sharing his life lessons for generations to learn. His life continues to evolve in the most amazing ways, and so does his story.